Hello and welcome to the command phase. My name is Mark and thank you so much for joining me. Warhammer 40k has a rich and wide variety of armies to choose from, which for a newer player can be both extremely exciting and a little daunting. While there is no right or wrong answer for picking your first army, in this video I'll be giving my suggestions for some easier to pick up factions than others to get you started in the game, with a wildcard option at the end. While there are loads of things you could consider, from the army playstyle being ranged, melee or something in between, the army's cost, the number of models in a force alongside its diversity of miniatures, how interesting you find the lore, plus the modelling, painting and rules complexity of the army. At the end of the day, what you like the look of, or the rule of cool as you may have heard before, trumps everything, as this will give you the excitement and motivation to get through the modelling and painting stages of the project and get up to speed on the rules. So if the army you like the look of isn't discussed in this list, please don't let that stop you from picking the army you prefer the most. Let me know in the comment section below which army you're thinking about starting, or if you're still deciding, what it's between. So without any further ado, let's get stuck in. Starting off, we have the World Eaters. These are a savage and brutal Chaos Space Marine legion driven by their insatiable thirst for bloodshed and combat, led by their merciless demon primarch, Angron. The Butcher's nails implanted in their brains fuel their endless fury as they charge headfirst into battle, wielding chainswords and axes. They see no honour, no strategy, only the thrill of the kill, seeking to appease their bloodthirsty god with every foe they slaughter. And Khorne has very simple tastes: blood and skulls, and it doesn't matter where they come from. This is an army that just wants to be in combat, pretty much foregoing any shooting and no psychic to do so. While some might feel this is a hindrance, this one-phase army allows you to streamline your turns and give you more thinking time of how you want to play. Plus, you'll learn how to utilise terrain and cover to get across the board to your opponent as efficiently and safely as possible to deliver the biggest blow. This would then help you playing a shooting army in the future by knowing how to manoeuvre to deal with the melee threats. Their Blessings of Khorne each turn can provide some really good buffs to not only your movement across the board, but your damage output alongside the resiliency of marine bodies. Plus, with their brand new sculpts of Khorne Berserkers, Demonic 8-bound, and of course the centrepiece of the army, the Demon Primarch Angron, you'll have great fun not only with the modelling, but the painting side of the army too. While the trim might be a little overwhelming potentially for newer painters, it doesn't have to be as difficult as it may look, and the vast majority of the force are just 2 colours. Plus, you get excellent value from the Combat Patrol, or the Christmas box if you can still find one, make for fantastic starting points to this army. If you do decide this is the faction for you, enjoy racing into combat to tear your opponents limb from limb, and if you take casualties, it's not a problem, as Khorne does not care from where the blood flows. Next is the complete opposite in the form of the Tau. They are a young, ambitious race with advanced technology. Instead of close combat, they rely on battlesuits, drones, and devastating firepower at range. They believe in the greater good, a philosophy aiming to bring unity and progress to the galaxy. Where the World Eaters were solely combat, here you have the opposite for those after a shooting force. The Tau utilise their advanced weaponry to be one of the most powerful shooting armies in the game, who really don't want to be in combat. They are quite a synergistic army where units can spot for others, allowing them to do more damage with their guns. Alongside this, they are supported by drones, which do a variety of things, from extra shots with their guns to providing you with a shield and taking a shot for you. With the wide variety of battlesuits fighting alongside their supporting fire warriors, these guys are your perfect mecha style army. They are really cool looking models and perfect for you if you want a shooting focused playstyle. Plus, this style of army allows you to end up rolling some dice no matter what happens in the game, which always feels great. That and the added benefit when playing a melee army in the future to know how to deal with firing lanes and finding ways to move up the board safely. In terms of the modelling side, the bigger battlesuits may not be the most straightforward to build up and paint, but you can get some pretty good results with some fairly simple techniques. The Combat Patrol is currently a great pickup when starting out, plus with a lot of new Recruit additions coming to bolster your unit options, you have a lot more variety in your army playstyle and hobbying to keep you entertained for a long time to come. Then we have the obvious addition to the list, the Adeptus Astartes. More commonly known as Space Marines, they are the Emperor's Angels of Death. Towering figures clad in power armor, they're genetically engineered for superhuman strength and resilience. The Space Marines are the Imperium's most powerful weapon, armed and armoured with the best war gear the Imperium can provide. They are deployed to fight the galaxy's most dangerous threats with relentless fury and unwavering faith in the Emperor. The Space Marines are one of the most accessible and forgiving armies to both collect and play. They are solid at all facets of the game without being specialists. You have access to a wide variety of detachments, especially if you decide to go down the route of any of their dedicated chapters. While potentially a bit overwhelming, it means you can cater your army to how you would like to play, as they have plenty of model options to suit every playstyle. And now that you don't need to paint your force to be a specific chapter, you can utilise any of the detachments you'd like to your heart's content. As Space Marines are the poster boys of Warhammer 40k and have been in pretty much every starter box for each edition, you'll be able to pick up some bargains when starting your force. Whether this is from the wide array of combat patrols, the starter box set, or utilising the secondary market to your advantage, there are plenty of deals to be had. In terms of modelling and painting, it's a pretty straightforward force too, with plenty of options with the different chapters to create an army with the lore and looks that you enjoy. Plus, there are a fair number of push-fit models also in the new starter set, so if you're brand new to the hobby, you'll have an easier starting point there as well, although these aren't everyone's cup of tea. All of this, alongside some pretty straightforward rules, make it easy to see why it's one of the most common starter armies to collect. Then we have the Adeptus Custodes, who are an elite and ancient warrior brotherhood in Warhammer 40k. Directly serving the Emperor of Mankind, they are his personal bodyguards and the Defenders of Terror. They are genetically engineered super soldiers, each one a masterpiece of combat skill and unwavering loyalty. Clad in gold power armor and wielding mastercrafted weaponry, they are unmatched in combat prowess. Each custodian is a true hero in their own right, a demigod of war. On the tabletop, the Adeptus Custodes are melee monsters and arguably have some of the best combat units in the game. These are extremely resilient super soldiers, which helps to make them a forgiving army to get started with. The army has a relatively low model count, which not only helps in terms of cost, being one of the cheapest armies to collect, but also allows you to build and paint up the army quickly, especially if using the traditional golden scheme. Spray them gold, a wash of Reikland Flesh Shade and a dry brush gets you 80% of the way there before picking out any of the other details. In terms of a starting point, a box of Custodian Guard would go down well, allowing you to build a shield captain and some of their amazing troops. Or you have the great value Combat Patrol box if you wanted some more models and variety at a good discount. But if you can find the older Watchers at the Gate Battle Force set, it's pretty much perfect. The Custodes don't have much long-range firepower outside the expensive Forge World resin units, so if you'd prefer a more shooting force, this would be one to avoid. They also don't have the biggest variety in their model range. While again you could utilise the Forge World models, this isn't necessary to make a fully capable force. And last of all, we have the Necrons, who are ancient beings that transferred their consciousness into robotic bodies millions of years ago at the cost of their souls. They sleep beneath planets in tomb complexes, awakening to reclaim their lost empire. Now emotionless and driven by cold logic, they march as relentless phalanxes, wielding Gauss weaponry that disintegrates matter at the atomic level. They are the undying foe, seeking to reclaim the galaxy they once ruled. The Necrons are a slow and extremely resilient force that do the majority of their damage up close. To be able to get to the enemy, Necron's main rule allows them to reanimate models when they fall, allowing you to send wave upon wave of models at the opponent, making Necrons one of the most durable armies in the game. This allows you not to get punished as hard if you make mistakes while learning the game. Alongside the immortal foot soldiers, you have a fair amount of big guns, and can take shards of the Catan to give your forces some much needed punch. Plus, with their recent codex release, you'll have access to all the different detachments to offer you a variety of playstyle or list building ideas to suit how you would like to play. Hobby-wise, the Necrons got a huge refresh at the start of 9th edition, with some incredible sculpts and lots of new units added to the range. You may potentially still be able to pick up some bargains on the secondary market, with them being in all of the starter sets and Indomitus launch box, plus you've also got older issues of Hatchet Partworks Imperium magazine as well. The new Combat Patrol is a good starting point if also brand new to the hobby. The Necrons are also easy to build and paint, allowing you to get them onto the tabletop quickly. Plus you have the option to really push the schemes should you wish to. Overall, a very solid and forgiving army for new players to jump into with some interesting lore to back them up. And now for the wildcard. Chaos Demons were created by the energies of the Warp, and they are constantly being reborn in the fires of conflict. They are a diverse group and come in all shapes and sizes. These demons are the embodiments of the 4 Chaos Gods' dark aspects: Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh. Chaos Demons are unpredictable, destructive, and powered by the darkest impulses of the galaxy. Chaos Demons might be considered a wildcard pick for a first army, but with a wide variety of units ranging from small Nurgling all the way to a mighty greater demon and Be'lakor, you'll have an array of options to suit the god and playstyle you'd like to worship. There is a huge diversity of playstyles depending on the god the demons come from, although most rely on close range and combat to get the job done. Plus, with their demon saves, it makes them a fairly resilient force too. While the Combat Patrol sadly only serves one of the Chaos Gods, which you may not be interested in, with the models being a little older, you'll find they aren't as expensive to collect as some armies. Plus, fairly straightforward to paint, at least for the smaller troops. One of the biggest benefits for a new player is that this army can literally be used in pretty much any format of games that Games Workshop has to offer, with 40k, AOS, Old World, Kill Team, and Warcry all supported. This makes it a great army to collect if you wanted to dip your toes into other games, alongside being a great ally in a potential second army later on down the line. So there we have my top picks for starter/beginner armies in 40k. A range of armies that suit a few different playstyles alongside some very resilient factions. If you did decide that none of these armies are for you, but you're still unsure on which you'd like to pick, check out my guide to every single faction in 40k video, which is linked in the description below. There is no right or wrong answer to picking an army. As long as you're happy and enjoy the one that you've picked, that is all that matters. Army choice is a very subjective thing, and not everyone has the same tastes. Let me know in the comment section below if there are any other armies you suggest for a new player to get started with. I'm sure these suggestions would be a massive help to them. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, please hit that like and subscribe button, as it really helps the channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching the command phase, and I'll see you in the next video.